welcome to another installment of Metallic Reviews, the show where I take an honest look at the harder, heavier side of music and give it an honest rating. Today, we're diving back into the metalcore realm. We've been there for a couple of weeks now, but we're not going to be quite as heavy as some might think. Now, the band that we are talking about today are the defending Album of the Year champions around here. I know I didn't make a video for it last year, but if I had, they definitely would have topped that list, as their absolutely exquisite effort for those that wish to exist was the best of 2021, at least in my opinion. Now the question is, can they top it? Let's find out, as we're going to be diving into Architect's new album, The Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit, released October 21st on Epitaph Records. Now, this has definitely been one of my more anticipated album drops of the year, and that's saying something considering none of us knew this was coming out at the beginning of the year. So, let's not waste any more time, and let's dive right into the review. Now, the first thing that's really noticeable about this one, as opposed to the previous one, is the lack of symphonic elements, where For Those That Wish to Exist was a lot more bombastic and open to those epic, winding musical passages. Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit is a lot more tightly knit. The band are definitely not willing to be overly complex about things. They utilize much more straightforward, almost modern Bring Me the Horizon-esque passages to convey their overall theme of nihilism. Now, the lyrics on here are not for the faint of heart, and they are brutally frank, and honestly, for me, that can be a bit of a drawback at times, but the music is so good that one can kind of overlook that. Sam Carter is at his absolute best here. His vocals are both shredding and endearing. I love the way that he's able to toy around with the different lyrical phrases, using emotion that gets really, really heavy at times. I wouldn't say it's as intense as For Those That Wish to Exist, and it's definitely not as intense as Holy Hell was. However, Carter just has a knack for pushing the envelope in just the right way. It's not annoying, it doesn't feel repetitive, it's simply a man crying in the face of what he views to be adversity, and it's almost as if he's been given this massive megaphone to use. I may not always agree with their political message, but I respect the amount of passion being put into it. In terms of songwriting, again, this represents the next step of the group's recent evolution. The songs on here are strikingly on the nose, and not just from a lyrical standpoint. There aren't any rapid-fire timing changes, nor are there unnecessary genre fusions. It's simple, it's accessible, it's all very well put together. Crisp and clean, there's just nothing confusing about it. Some might find it a little too crisp, and I kind of understand that point of view as well. Architects are definitely a band that thrives on an emotional response from their fans, and some might feel that the amount of sharp production on here can kind of get in the way of that. I see where they're coming from, but I feel the opposite. This didn't need to be black metal. It needed to simply be Architects, and that's exactly what it is. My favorites from the album are probably When We Were Young, Deep Fake, Tear Gas, Born Again Pessimist, and Doom Scrolling. These 5 songs represent the core of an album that doesn't really venture too far outside of its own comfort zone. They've all got the things that I have come to love about current era Architects: thunderously sharp rhythms, absolutely precise writing, and excellent vocal performances. Those factors, coupled with these soaring choruses, bring Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit to the same level as For Those That Wish to Exist. Again, it lacks some of the more cinematic elements of the previous record, but again, it doesn't really need it. You're not going to put black long strings over Burn My House Down's chorus. It just doesn't work. Overall, I've got to say, this is yet another Architect's masterpiece. I wouldn't say it's their opus, at least in my opinion. For Those That Wish to Exist just barely beats it out, and I mean by its slimmest of margins. But that doesn't mean that Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit is in any way terrible. Yeah, the nihilistic themes can be a bit of a drag, a little overbearing. However, in terms of songwriting and production, it's among the best out there. We've got an absolute beauty on our hands here, folks. I'd expect nothing less from these British mainstays. It gets a very, very strong 5 out of 5. Thanks so much for watching. Click like and don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell for more weekly Metallic reviews. Next week, we are heading back into one of my favorite spots, the world of Christian metal, to examine an album by a band that is beloved by a lot of metalheads and not just the faith-based ones. Yes, next week it's Demon Hunter's long-awaited new album, Exile. I hope you'll join me. You've been watching Metallic Reviews, where I give honest ratings to honest music. I will see y'all next time.